Tomorrow is Tuesday, November 5th. Tomorrow is the day where we go out and we vote for Donald Trump for the next president of the United States of America. And we bring this country back into order because right now it is all in chaos. Personal opinion. This country is in chaos. And I would like order restored. And the best way to do that is with Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance at the helm for the next 4 years. So now that you know my opinion, let's jump into today's live stream. I don't really have any structure to this, which is not new. If you've never been to the Squirrel Tribe before, let me just go ahead and warn you that this will be all over the place because that's how I run things here. Because I am a squirrel. People have asked before, where does Squirrel Tribe come from? Like, what is the name? Since there's obviously no actual squirrels in my videos, there's no peanut, none of that kind of stuff. The name comes from the fact that I have so many thoughts in my brain and I have a tendency for the train to leave the station and make it to a few stops and then completely forget where it was going and whatever else. So squirrel and tribe, because a lot of y'all are like me, where you have so many thoughts and so many things you want to say that it's hard to keep it all together. So you just kind of fustercluck the whole entire thing and it's a bunch of stuff. Okay. So this is what we're doing today. I call this our last conversation because technically it is the last one that we are going to have before voting commences. Regular voting, not early voting. We've already done the early voting thing. I did that. I went out day one in the first 30 minutes that it was open and I put in my vote for the very first time ever in life. I voted and it was for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. So this is the last conversation we will have before many of you go out and cast your vote, whether it is for Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, or it's for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I will go ahead and say that if you're voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, the odds you're going to like anything you're going to hear in today's live stream is pretty much zero. Not even a maybe 1%. It is definitely zero because I am not a fan of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I think they're both walking pieces of trash with no common sense or morals between the two of them. So if you are a Democrat, this is not the channel for you, honey boo boo. And you might want to just go ahead and say deuces and move on over to somebody else's location. So Anthony, welcome to part of the family, sir. Glad to have you here. I put up a video earlier today. You guys may have seen it, you may not have. No big deal either way. But it was basically just a conversation about what the country feels like, what I hope the country will feel like in the next 4 years, how I feel like the media is lying to us about who's actually winning in the polls, in the early voting and everything else. If you pay attention to mainstream media, they're going to tell you that Kamala Harris is winning by points, blah, 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 however they tally all this crap up, that she's winning and it's going to be another 4 years of Democrats in office. And I don't believe it. I just want you to know that's pretty much the gist of this morning's video. A lot more in there, obviously, but that's the gist of it, that I don't believe mainstream media when they're telling us that Kamala Harris is winning. I don't think it's real. The Bronx 62, welcome to part of the family. Glad to have you here. I did a live stream with my husband earlier over on his channel. Sarah, I believe, since she's in here, she's my moderator. She can put his channel name in the comments if you guys want to check it out. We did a live stream earlier, basically just talking about the difference between the left and the right, which to me it's not even monetary, right? It's not monetary. It's not skin tone. It's not religion. It's none of those things. You can be any religion and be Republican, but I don't think you can be any religion and be Democrat. I personally do not believe that you can call yourself a Christian and call yourself a Democrat in the same sentence. And the reason for that being the Democrats right now, their whole push, their main talking point, their main voting point is abortion. They keep calling it reproductive rights, but there's nothing reproductive about murdering a fetus. So they don't really go hand in hand. You also can't say that you are for abortion and then go to church and say that you're for Jesus and God and everything else. It does not work that way. It is very hypocritical. It is very ass backwards and it doesn't work. And so when I see people that are saying they are Democrats and they can't wait to vote for the first female president and whatever else. And then, they say that they're going to go to church afterwards. I'm like, oh, no, you will catch on fire the second you walk through those doors. I highly suggest you don't do it. Like, it's a very, very bad idea. The biggest difference that I have noticed over the last few months, not even the last 4 years. I feel like it's the last few months because the last 4 years, yes, we've had Kamala Harris in office, but as vice president, but we've had Joe Biden as the acting president. And Joe Biden did not push abortion nearly as hard as Kamala Harris is. And I don't know why that is her main talking point. Her main campaign push is for that. It does not make sense to me. If I were to go out into a group of women right now and ask them what's most important to them in life, the ability to murder a child in their womb is probably not going to come to the top of the conversation. Like, I feel like that's somewhere in the very back of anybody's mind, number one. So for that to be the Democrat Party's push makes no sense to me. But the last few months have felt more divisive than the last 4 years due to Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, herself is what is so divisive. Not even the Democrat Party, but Kamala Harris. And I think that people don't realize that that's when everything started to get wonky. Let's go with the word wonky. Is when they did the coup. Don't really know how you're supposed to phrase that, like how you phrase it, but they did the coup, they pulled the coup, and they knocked Joe Biden off the Democrat ballot for the presidential nominee for this election, right? Kamala Harris also not the nominee. She's the candidate they placed on it. Nobody nominated her. She's gotten no votes to be there. You can even listen to her talk about the fact that none of the positions that she had in the very beginning of her career did the polls say that she was going to win or give her any credit or any votes. And yet somehow, miraculously, she keeps ending up in places where she clearly shouldn't be, right? I don't know how many dicks she sucked to get there, but it was enough to get her all the way up to the vice presidency. And depending on how Barack Obama feels about the way she does her work, maybe into the presidency as well. Farm Girl Rebel says, we ride at dawn. I know she wanted to say bitches, but she said squirrels. We ride at dawn. Tomorrow is the day to go out and make your voice heard. Listen, I want to say the division will stop. You know, like you flip a switch and the lights are off, or you flip a switch and the lights are on. I want to say that tomorrow people are going to go out, get in line to vote, and they're going to have adult conversations, not like, adult conversations, but conversations like adults with other people in line waiting to go in and vote. Maybe it'll be a Democrat and a Republican standing next to each other, and one of them will strike up a conversation, and they'll have a conversation, and it may sway a vote. It won't sway a Republican's vote, but maybe we can sway the Democrats in line to vote correctly when they get inside the polling office, right? Or the polling location. I don't think office is the right word. Because it doesn't make sense to me why there would be anybody voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. There's no actual policy. There's no proof of anything that has been done positively for the citizens of Minnesota or the citizens of the United States of America, whether you're talking about Walz or Harris. There's nothing to show why either of them should be in a position, the two highest positions of power in this country, the president and the vice president, especially Tim Walz. Like, how in the hell did he fumble his way into that? You see, I use the football term because he likes to pretend his name is Coach Walz. That man is not a coach. His use of football terms and the way he says things makes absolutely no sense. Nobody who's ever played football or coached football would speak the way he does about football. So anyway, but tomorrow I'm going to go out. I've already voted, like I said, but I'm going to go out tomorrow to locations around where I am, because there's 3 or 4 different places in where I am in Okaloosa, Florida, for people to go vote. And I'm going to go out and I'm just going to see what it's like. I want to take a gander at the people in line and try to see if I can see or hear any conversations that are going on, get a little footage. I want you guys to see what it looks like. And if you guys happen to be out and about and you have footage and you want to email it to me or send it to me on X, or upload it and tag me on X or something, go for it, because I'd love to see what it's like everywhere else. Right now, I saw a video in, I don't remember what city it was, so that's not helpful. I saw a video it was early voting, and there were probably 1,000 people standing in this line waiting to get inside to early vote. And my first thought was, Kamala Harris people are not going to stand in line this long, because Kamala Harris people have victim mentality, and they would be so upset that they had to stand in line this long, that they were forced to stand in line this long to place their vote, that they wouldn't even stay. Whereas Trump supporters are like, listen, I got a chair and a sleeping bag and a thermos of coffee. I'll be here however long it needs to be. Remember back in the day with, Black Friday? Black Friday started Friday morning, but if you wanted something from Best Buy, like a PS2 at the time, or even an Xbox One or whatever, you got in line the night before. You had a tent set up and you were willing to sleep on the concrete to get that PS2, that Xbox One, that whatever else. We got to have that same energy when it comes to voting for the president and the vice president of the United States. You have to have that same energy where you are willing to camp your ass out on the sidewalk for however long it takes to get in there to place your vote, because that is way more important than the next, Call of Duty or Need for Speed or whatever video game is out wherever. Way more important. I saw a video, has nothing to do with anything, but I saw a video of chaos in Costco is what I wanted to call it. Like my brain does everything in terms of titles and thumbnails for YouTube. And I was like, chaos in Costco. They had this palette of Pokemon cards, and these people bum rushed this palette and like destroyed it in 10 seconds flat to take these boxes of Pokemon cards. And I'm like, is this 2003? Like, why is this still a thing? Why is Pokemon still a thing? And why are adults still acting like this? Because these were adults. It gives that 1990s, 1980s Black Friday vibe where the doors opened to Kmart and everybody clobbered each other to get to the Cabbage Patch Kids and the Barbies and the stuff like that. It does not make any sense to me. It's Pokemon cards. What are you going to do with those? Like, what's the point? Anyway, not the point. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. Israel. Oh, I see your name. Israel Cancel. I see what you did there. Thank you for that. I want to jump into just random things that I saved on X that I want us to talk about, because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. And I'm going to make you listen to Kamala Harris's voice. And I'm sorry. I apologize for it, but it is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. So here we go. You guys ready for this? She's at a campaign in Pennsylvania, right? And she says here, this is from Johnny Mag on X, says, Kamala just visited a canvassing event and did perhaps the single most cringe thing I've ever seen from a presidential candidate. And I was like, it can't be that bad. I mean, she's done so many cringy things that it's not going to outdo the rest of them. And then it outdid the rest of them. So you remember that one I showed you where she's standing at the, what is it? The podium? I don't know if that's the right word when she's doing her stuff. She's standing at the podium and people are chanting her name. In theory, they're chanting her name. And she's like, all right, now yell your name. And nobody did anything because that's just weird. I'm not going to stand around and go, Michelle, that's fucking awkward. Like, never going to happen. And I was like, there's no way she can top that in the cringe meter. Y'all, she has topped that in the cringe meter. And I want you to hear it because it says to me who she is as a person. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like if I just met her and she wasn't a vice president, she wasn't anybody, she was just Kamala Harris, and I happened to run across her somewhere, like in the line at the grocery store, and I'm asking her, hey, do you want the divider on the belt so you can put your stuff up so we can both put our stuff on the whatever? And then she started talking to me. I feel like I would have the same response, like that visceral response to her that I have as a presidential running person. It would just be immediate ick, like that immediate ick. You know what I mean? Where you're like, oh, no, I don't want to do this anymore. All right, no, take your stuff off the conveyor belt. No, I don't want your stuff near my stuff. Go away. That's how I feel about her. But I want you guys to hear this. You're welcome in advance. You ready? Here we go.
Get out the vote. Let's 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 win. Get out.
Y'all, she tried to start a chant at her own canvassing rally, whatever, in Pennsylvania. She tried to start a chant. They're saying Kamala, Kamala, whatever they would normally say. And she tried to start a chant of let's get out to vote. Let's get out to vote. And then it didn't catch on and people are very confused. You can't start your own chant. It's like starting your own slow clap when you've said something profound or had a moment, like, any 90s or 80s rom-com. And it's like, you got to slow clap it. You can't start your own slow clap. It looks real stupid. You can't start your own chant. It sounds real stupid. So that was that. Just wanted to share that with you guys, that of the 14 people that are in attendance with that handwritten vote for freedom in the background. Yes, because when I think of Kamala Harris, I think of freedom. That's freedom for everybody to come into our country and destroy it. If that's what she means by vote for freedom, vote for free borders where there's no stopping anything. Vote for free. What else? Freedom of mental instability with transgenderism in children and the pushing of it by mentally deranged parents. Maybe that one. I don't know. I don't know what freedom she's talking about, but I do not think freedom and Kamala Harris in the same sentence ever in life. I'm not going to play this, but I want you to see how many Amish people are out there taking their horse and buggies and their Trump flags to go vote for Donald Trump. I mean, hello. What's more American? I don't know if that's actually accurate. I was going to say what's more American than the Amish in their buggies and a Trump flag. That feels pretty damn American, though. I don't, right? Anyway, we're going to go with it. Where's this? What is this? No, I don't want that one. I got a lot of stuff here, so... Oh, this is the one I wanted. Do you guys remember the Olympics? It was like a little bit ago, and it was in France or Paris or whatever, Paris, France. And they did that opening section where they had just absolute disgusting mockery of the Last Supper when they tried to pretend like it wasn't a mockery of the Last Supper, but we know it was because then they went through and yanked off everybody's videos that had anything to do with it off of YouTube. Hello, happened to me. They didn't want anybody seeing it. The Olympics channel themselves took the opening ceremony down off of their channel because of the backlash from it. Okay, y'all remember that? But after that, remember when in women's boxing, there was a dude and I was like, that's a man because they have XY chromosomes. And people were like, oh my God, you're so blah, 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 blah. I can't believe that you're going to call that woman a man. And I was like, well, I mean, if you have XY chromosomes and you have a penis and you have testicles, pretty sure that makes you a man. Just FYI, the chromosomes themselves, you don't even need the penis and the testicles. Things could have happened to those. Your twig and berries could be gone. But if you have XY chromosomes, you're technically considered a dude. Okay. So I told everybody it was a man, and then people got all butthurt and people got really mad and they're like, you can't do that and blah, 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 blah. Remember the man who won an Olympic gold medal in women's boxing? His medical reports show he has XY chromosomes, male testosterone levels, testicles, and a micro penis, like a little Vienna sausage, if you will. But that never mattered. They believe that words and feelings make you woman, not biology, because the Algerian boxer Iman Khalif has XY chromosomes and testicles. This is according to the French Algerian medical reporter. Admits it. But we talked about it when the Olympics were going on, that they stated ahead of time that they weren't going to test anybody and they weren't going to ensure that there were no men in women's sports because they didn't want to step on the toes of transgenders, of people who were mentally confused and were actually smart enough to convince the world that they identified as women so that they could participate in a sport so they could beat women, because in the men's version, they couldn't beat shit. So that's where we are. But I just wanted to remind people about that. I don't like to say I told you so, but you know, I called it. So there's that. I just wanted to throw that little tidbit in there in case you couldn't remember this woman that they said wasn't a man. Listen, I'm not a feminine looking girl. I'm considered, a lot of people talk about how masculine I am because I have wide shoulders and I don't have like a super high pitched voice and whatever other reasons. I don't really care. But I don't look like that. So anyway, let's continue on. Let's keep her trucking over here. Oh, also, y'all, the amount of celebrities that are coming out and endorsing Kamala Harris, the ones that are obviously on the Diddy list and probably a Epstein file or two, and for weird reasons, the only one she brings out on stage happened to be black. I'm not quite sure about that. But another one has endorsed her, but this is Katy Perry. In case anybody doesn't know who Katy Perry is, she's a walking piece of trash. She was a singer at some point. I guess she still sings. I don't know. She's never been that relevant, but she's a singer, and she was a judge on American Idol. But on American Idol, she was just an asshole to young kids who were trying to, make a way in the business. But she has come out and endorsed Kamala Harris. She's actually appearing with Kamala Harris today. But Katy Perry is the same one who right now is evicting is suing to evict an 85-year-old man out of a house that she wants. Let me explain this. I'm trying to remember all the parts and pieces that go with it. So Kamala Harris, who's also, side note, with Orlando Bloom, the guy who was in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies with Johnny Depp, they have a kid together, whatever else. But she wanted this house. And the problem is this house that was on sale, it was on sale for like 11 something million dollars. Cause you know, all of us can just pull $11 million out of our ass to go buy a house at any point in time. It was like $11.2 million and she really wanted this house. And she said that she would take it for a much, much lower price and not do any appraisals on it, not do any of that stuff. She would take it as is, right? So she bought this house for like 5 million or 6 million. I might be fudging numbers here. It's not on purpose. I just don't remember exact numbers, for like $5 or $6 million. And then she had like 20 people go through this house and pick apart every single thing that was wrong with this house, and then tried to now sue the owner of this house for like $6 million so that she can fix all the things that were wrong with it. Here's the issue. The man who's in the house, who currently owns the house, who was selling it to her, is an 85-year-old man on hospice. She is suing an 85-year-old man on hospice for $6 million for repairs after she said that she wouldn't care about those repairs. She just really wanted that house. So now she's suing this man to get him out of the house and to make him pay her so that she can then use his money to make the repairs on the home. 85-year-old man on hospice. Oh, veteran, by the way. Forgot that part. 85-year-old veteran on a hospice. So there's that. But now she's going to join Kamala Harris on stage to talk about how great the Democrat Party is. Okay, so that's that. Let's see. We're going to move on. Oh, here's that video of people losing their ever-loving minds over freaking Pokemon cards in Costco. Why? These are all adults. These are all grown-ass people destroying this thing to get to boxes of Pokemon cards. It's like toilet paper 2020 all over again. 2021? Whatever year. Toilet paper all over again. Absolutely stupid. Absolutely ridiculous. Where is this? Okay. This is what we're going to do. I'm not going to make you listen to this because I think Glorilla, 1, is a really stupid name for a rapper. Number 2, her music is really stupid. Number 3, I just don't want to hear it, so I'm not going to make y'all hear it. But this is her at the Kamala whatever that is. Look at the background. Can y'all, if minus the glare from my everything here, can y'all see the background? All those people that are just sitting there like, what the fuck am I looking at? You got one person in the back dancing around in that pink shirt and one person or two in front of them recording. But look at the silence behind them. There is no movement. Everybody's kind of like, what am I doing here? What is happening? Why is this what we're doing? As this woman talks about her moose knuckle. In case y'all don't know, that's a big vagina. Okay. It's not a camel toe, it's a moose knuckle. Mooses are bigger than camels. So that should give you a visual about what this girl is rapping about in her pants. Okay? That is all. The trash that is on stage for every Kamala Harris thing is absolutely ridiculous to me. Absolutely ridiculous to me. My kid got in the car this morning. She's like, can we listen to Christmas music? I know it's November, but I'd like to. And I was like, sure, go for it. And she puts on, who did she put on? Michael Bublé, Pentatonics. And then we moved over to older music. And she goes for stuff that was in like the Supernatural soundtrack. You know what we're not listening to? Whatever shit that was about moose knuckles and whatnots. Like that's not a thing. My daughter is 15. She's in high school. Her friends listen to all this extra trashy stuff. And I know she's heard it. And I'm sure she listens to it every once in a while by herself. Just like when I was her age, I would listen to stuff I wasn't supposed to listen to. Like I was all into Kilo Ali and, what else? Tupac, because Tupac was actually around making music when I was younger, as opposed to when Kamala Harris was in college and she said that she listened to Tupac while she was in college. Ma'am, he was 4 years old. So anyway, but she will always pick normal music, which I am so incredibly thankful for, because I don't tell her let me rephrase this. I don't tell her what she's allowed to listen to, but if she puts something on that I'm like, the hell is that? It's never listened to again. We have a very good understanding. But the fact that these are the people who Kamala Harris bring out to her rallies is crazy to me. You go to a Donald Trump rally, you're getting, what's his name? Lee Greenwald. Greenwood. I mess up his last name every single time. You go to a Trump rally and it is about America. It is about patriotism. It is about your fellow man and woman. It is about love of country, love of citizens, love of everything. There are American flags. There is all kinds of patriotic American shit, right? You go to a Kamala Harris rally, Lee Greenwood, thank you. You go to a Kamala Harris rally and there is no flags. There is no patriotic music. Instead, you have Meg Thee Stallion twerking on stage in Atlanta. You have Glorilla twerking on stage at whatever this is. You have Beyonce standing up there talking about some shit off of whatever script she's reading. You have Cardi B, the trashiest, nastiest, most plastic-filled thing I have ever seen in my life, up on that stage reading a script that she wrote, okay, that she couldn't remember a single word of for the minute that her teleprompter wasn't working. That is what the left views as not even just in entertainment, but also as how they view our country. That's I kind of think how I feel about it. That's how they view our country. The left views the country as no morals and ghetto as hell and disgusting and just trash, right? Whereas the right is more, I'm going to say more morally in tune with, I don't even know how to phrase this. I have no friggin' clue how to phrase this. They're not gross. That's all I got. They're not gross. You know what I mean? It's just not gross. Anyway, I don't know. Whatever. Let's see. Oh, I love this. Anyway, I want to read you this. This seems like a good time to ask. So here we go. How come the people who somehow could count COVID deaths as they came in, minute by minute, can't count election votes in less than a week? I'm just curious. It's a really good question. It's a very good question. Every time there was a COVID death, they ticked it off and they let you know at the end of the day, like throughout the day, there was updates. This how many people died from COVID. But tomorrow, even though we've been able to do this throughout the history of the United States, tomorrow they won't be able to count the ballots in one night. I'm kind of curious. Why? Like what changed? What changed? Anyway, it's a great question. This is by Bile Holt on X. Asked that question. I'd also like to remind you while we're here, this is from whitehouse.gov. I do not know. Let me just go ahead and clarify. I do not know if this is real. Riley Gaines has reposted this, and so has, I don't remember if it's Megyn Kelly or Laura Loomer. Some very smart female reposted it also. So I'm gonna go with yes, this is real from the White House. Anyway, it says we are intent on not letting Omicron disrupt work and school for the vaccinated. You've done the right thing and we will get through this. For the unvaccinated, you're looking at a winter of severe illness and death for yourselves, your families, and the hospitals you may soon overwhelm. I'm sorry. I mean, this is old, obviously. This is not right now. This is like back in the day. But was that like a threat? That literally felt like a threat reading it. But it felt like a threat while it was happening at the same time. If you guys remember what the last couple of years felt like, during C-19, everything felt like a threat to the right, honestly. And to people who weren't willing to just fall in line with anything that was told to them without some sort of proof of something, right? That felt like an extreme threat. And now you don't see the White House posting anything about, hey, y'all, dang, we're sorry. You know, we pushed this so hard and now it's killing people. Cancer rates are spiking like crazy. Myocardiac arrest or whatever it's called in children is happening left and right. We should probably apologize for the fact that we wanted money through Pfizer and Moderna and everybody else more than we wanted your safety, because that's what it came down to at the end of the day. So there's that. Danica Patrick, do you guys know who Danica Patrick is? She's a race car driver. She did for a while date Aaron Rodgers from used to be Green Bay. Then it was the Jets. I think the Jets actually, did they just let him go? No, they let their coach go. Either way, Aaron Rodgers. anyway, bless him. Danica Patrick used to date him, but she came out and she says, I'm not paid to be here. This is at a Trump Vance thing. You guys can just kind of see the video. She says, I am not paid to be here and I don't have a teleprompter and I've never been to a Diddy party. Not a single person that has walked out on stage for Kamala Harris can say any of that. They have all been paid to be there. They are all reading from a teleprompter. And pretty sure, like 99.99 to the infinity, sure that they've all been to a Diddy party also. Just interesting. I told you, I like petty humor and ironic humor, sarcastic humor, any kind of humor. And Danica Patrick, that to me was great. She's like, I'm not reading from a teleprompter. I wasn't paid to be here and I've never been to a Diddy party. So I liked it. I just wanted to share that with you because some people deserve to have recognition for being that way. Oh, this one, y'all. So I want to show you this. This is California. California, which is run by Gavin Newsom, the nephew of Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi, who knew that the January 6th incident was going to be, could be a little chaotic and did nothing about it. Instead, pretty much pushed it. Nancy Pelosi, who's actually super trash and started the coup against Joe Biden. Yeah, anyway, the whole state of California is trash, and I guess it's a family thing. I want you guys to see this, hear this. I think there's volume to this. It's a little over 2 minutes. We might not play the whole thing, but I want you to have just a little bit of information here. Let's see. I think I got the volume going.
Oh, how we doing?
Can I get the first 3 letters of your last name?
Yeah, H-E-N.
And the first 3 letters of your first name?
J-O-R. It may be that may be correct.
Oh, and your house number?
It may be
It can't tell you his address, obviously. So.
Avenues.
Hold on. That part he has to bleep out. This is his address.
Can you confirm your year of birth?
It might be 1985.
You hear the word might every time he answers.
But it might not.
Okay. I'm going to cancel your vote by mail ballot.
Is your birthday 1985?
It might be. I mean, yeah, but it might not be.
Well, what is your birthday?
It's 1985.
Okay.
I'm just saying it might not be.
But like for people to add afterwards.
You can't verify it. But I'm just telling you it is.
Okay, you're gonna sign an oath? You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm gonna sign it up.
That is 1985.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
Great.
I just saying it might not be.
I'm going to cancel your vote by mail ballot.
You can't see my ID, right? You could just verify my ID, right?
I mean, I take your word for it. It's California.
Exactly. So might be, might not be.
Wait.
That's the important part. I just take your word for it because it's California. This guy went in there and he's like, she asked, if, in case you couldn't hear it clearly, she said, what's the first 3 letters of your last name? And he gives her 3. He goes, they might be, blah, blah, blah. What's the first 3 letters of your first name? And gives her letters, they might be. What's your address? Well, it might be this. What's your date of birth? It might be this. And then this lady's like, well, is it or isn't it? And he's like, well, it might be, but it is. You know, just effing with her the whole way. And he's like, you know, you want my ID, but it's California. And the lady's like, no, it's California. I'm just going to take your word for it. So that's the problem. You can go to California. You can go to Minnesota. You can go to, I want to say Arizona is another one where you do not have to show an ID. You do not have to prove you are who you say you are. You could happen to know the information of somebody and go in there and pretend and vote for them. It's a little effed up, in my opinion, that they aren't checking IDs. California is the first one that I know that really pushed through. Gavin Newsom's like, no, we're not checking IDs, anything else like that, because they think it's like racist or something or some dumb shit like that. But there's also, these are the same states that have high illegal immigrants, whether it's Haitian, whether it's Venezuelan, whether it's Mexican, whether it's from whatever other countries they've been letting in. And they're not checking IDs because they need the votes. They need the votes. And Kevin, my husband, was saying earlier, he's like, we already voted, but, you know, here in Florida, but hell, we could go to another state and just walk in and be like, you know, and you give information of somebody that died. You make up some information. You say your last name starts with SMI and your first name starts with JOH. There's probably 75,000 John Smiths in there. Pick a random birth date out of your butt and it'd probably work. And then you get to go vote however you want to vote. Pennsylvania, they're saying no ID. So it's absolutely ridiculous to me. This is going to be one of the, it might actually be the very first election where there's no way to prove literally anything. literally anything. Because if they're not requiring voter ID, they're not requiring ID, they're not requiring that you prove you are who you say you are. They're not requiring that you get your votes in on time because, you know, they're like, well, we're not gonna be able to finish them all on November 5th. So as long as you have it postmarked by like the 11th or 13th. Now the Supreme Court came out and like, no, you can't do that. But just because the Supreme Court says you can't do it doesn't mean that the states aren't going to do it. You're also not supposed to let illegals vote. And yet states are letting illegal immigrants vote. People who are not citizens are able to go out and vote. In, I believe it was actually Pennsylvania, there was a busload of non-English speaking people who got off a bus and were moved to the front of the line to go in and vote while they had their translator with them. I don't know if they were illegal or not, but it would give you that sort of feeling that maybe they were. And why did they get to cut the line? A lot of issues here, a lot of issues that I have with what's going on with the voting situation right now. It is it's going to be hard to take the results that they give us seriously, because I personally think that Donald Trump will legally win. I do not think that they will tell us that Donald Trump has won. That is where the problem comes in for me. I believe that they are going to say that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have won. They are going to show us some number somewhere that says that they have won, even though we've all seen how many people are turning out for Donald Trump and JD Vance, whether it's at a rally, whether it's at voting, whether it's just support in general throughout the day with what they're wearing, what they're putting in their yards, whatever else it is, versus Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I don't feel like they have the same amount of actual people that are going to vote for them. Yet I worry, like 2020, that they're going to come out and say that she has won the electoral votes or whatever else, and she's the next president. They've been working way too hard to convince us that she's winning, so that when they say that she's won, we'll just be like, oh, yep, I guess so. I mean, they've been telling us all along that it's her, that she's going to win. So I'm excited and nervous at the same time for this election. I'm excited because my brain goes, Donald Trump's going to win. The economy is going to get better. The border is going to get closed. Things are going to be good again. Groceries, gas, electric, everything will be affordable again, right? But then the nervous part of me goes, no, because you are so confident in this is why it's going to feel like a punch to the gut when it goes the other direction, because of whatever strings that they are all pulling in the background. It's a lot. I know it's a lot. And I know a lot of people are in mental anguish, I guess is the word I want to go with. A lot of people are very worried for the next couple of days to see what's going to happen. And it takes a toll on people. Obviously, it takes a toll on your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, when, especially in situations like this. There's this video, y'all. I'm an emotional person, generally speaking. Like, I can't watch, it's stupid. I can't watch Publix commercials around Christmas. They always make me cry. It's really stupid, but whatever. I can't read a Nicholas Sparks book without crying. I can't do certain things I can't play the what if game in my brain, which I do all the time, without messing myself up emotionally. I'm like, whatever. But if Trump loses, which I don't think he will, I'm not going to pull out my phone and record a TikTok of me losing my ever-loving mind, crying and screaming. Yet for some reason, Democrats are already pulling out their phones, making TikToks of themselves crying and screaming because somebody in their family is voting for Donald Trump. There's this lady, this video that came out. She's in Texas and she is crying. Her nose looks like Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, and she's got tears pouring down her face because I grew up in Texas, and it's always been a blue state, and my family's voting red. And ma'am. Ew, stop. Ew. This is why they're voting red, because of you. It's not, that's why you've pushed them this far. Like, I feel like sometimes that's what happens. People are like, oh, I wasn't going to vote for Trump, but I can see that the left side of our family has lost our ever-loving minds. Let's go towards the light this time. Stay out of the dark side, right? But there's so many people that are having these breakdowns already that it's going to be interesting over the next few days to see what happens after the voting and once the results come out. I fully believe, though, that there will be, if they say that Kamala Harris is one, that there will be some Republicans who lose their minds. It's going to go either way. Both sides have people that will lose their minds. There are people who are very, very, very attached, I think is the right word, to the person, as opposed to the policies or the Republican side or the Democrat side. Is the person that they're attached to. So I do believe we're going to see some Republicans just absolutely lose their shit if they say Kamala Harris is one. And I definitely think you're going to see a lot of lefties lose their shit if they say that Donald Trump is one. So it's going to be just a overflow of emotion on social media. So just be prepared for that. Be prepared for that. I had another one I wanted to show you guys before I let you go. Now I got to find where it was because I lose my place all the time. Oh, this is the one. Let me get the brightness up here. So, you know, when you go to vote, you're not allowed to wear anything that shows who you're supporting. Like you could walk in a red shirt or a blue shirt, but it's not allowed to say Trump. It's not allowed to say Harris, Walls, they say. It's only Trump people that I see getting turned away that are wearing their hats or a t-shirt or whatever else. But this couple here, I'm not going to do the volume, but this couple here dressed up as Donald Trump and Melania from the first inauguration. I believe that's the kind of outfit that she wore. They took a limo to this joker to go inside to vote for, obviously, Donald Trump and JD Vance. But I thought it was absolutely hilarious that they walked in there because no matter who's working inside there, you can't tell somebody they can't vote because they look like Donald Trump. You can't tell somebody they can't vote because they look like Melania. That's not how it works. So the fact that they were like, you know what? We're going to take this to the 10th power and walk up in there looking like them. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Oh, no. One more and then I'll leave you. One more and then I'll leave you. You got to listen to this. It's 40 seconds long, but you got to listen to it. Oh, hold on. My alarm is going off because it's almost time to go pick up my kid. Okay, I want you guys to hear this. You ready? Yeah. Hold on.
I put a lawn sign in my front yard, and I don't think I should be subjected to these fraudulent mailers.
When this 50-year-old Shrewsbury woman put up a Harris wall sign in front of her home, she just wanted to show her support. She never imagined she would be subjected to a campaign dirty trick.
It really creeped me out.
She was dismayed when the mail arrived this week and she received this postcard. It purports to be from the Harris campaign, thanking her for putting up a sign and alerting her a family from Nicaragua would be moving into her home.
That's when I realized it was an obvious attempt to try to either scare me or rage bait me and make me upset.
It's absolutely a scare tactic.
Suffolk.
Isn't that funny, though? Isn't that funny, though? That the people who were voting left, who were voting for Kamala Harris, who were voting for open borders, who were voting for our country to be overrun, see that if somebody from these open borders were to come live with them, they see that as a scare tactic. They see it as something that's awful. They see it as what? Then why in the absolute hell are you voting for it? If you're not okay with opening your doors to the illegal immigrants that are flooding our borders, why would you vote for somebody who wants to leave those borders open? Make that shit make sense, because it does not. Not a single one of them should have been upset or called it a scare tactic or, you know, whatever else. They should have been like, oh, no, come on in. Yeah, no, I voted for it. Yeah, come on in. You can have the back room. You know, screw it. You can have the master bedroom. I'll go sleep on the floor. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Come on in. Take whatever you want. Take everything, because that's the way the vice president wants it to be. She wants them to come in and take whatever they want. Why, if you're voting for it, why don't you agree? Just out of curiosity, like, why would you vote for it if you don't agree with it? Why'd you do it? So that's that. I just thought it was absolutely hilarious that this woman willingly talked to the news station to say, I voted for it, but I don't actually believe it. It's funny. It's funny like that. So that's that. Okay, y'all. I'm going to let you go because I need to go get my kid from school. And then, in case you're curious, which you're probably not, I'm going to tell you anyway, the man and I are going to have a nice little date dinner, just he and I. I'm super excited about it. I love those kind of things. I will see you guys again tomorrow, but tomorrow is D-Day. Like, tomorrow is the day to get out there and vote. So the next conversation we have will be a pins and needles. These are the results so far. These are the results that are coming in. This is what it looks like. We could go live, but y'all, it'd be a very long live stream. We'd be here for days, I'd have to pee at some point. It would not work out well. The microphone would pick up everything. So there's that. But we'll be here again tomorrow. So I love you all. I appreciate you being here for these conversations. Again, if you're going out tomorrow to vote, strike up a conversation in line and just, I don't know, see what happens and report back to the Squirrel Tribe because I know we're all curious. So I love you guys. Have a fabulous rest of your Monday, and I'll see you guys on voting day. Bye. Adios. If I can get this thing to close.